Hi there, this is Paul Carson, Philadelphia Mortgage Brokers, and one of the questions I get all the time from new clients, especially first-time home buyers, is FHA financing a good fit for me, and can I use it to get into my first home? And I reference my own personal story. So back in 2011, I bought my first home, my wife and I, and we ended up utilizing FHA financing at that time. So I figure there's no better way to explain the ins and outs of utilizing this loan than to kind of walk you through my story. Our scenario at the time is we really didn't have, my wife had bought a condo in Philadelphia, and we had to keep that property because it was worth a lot less than what she had paid for it. So on paper, when you have to keep an existing property and carry that expense of the property while all at the same time buying a new house, you're kind of doubling up expenses. At that time, looking at conventional financing, we weren't really good enough on paper to get conventional financing. Our debt ratio was too high at the time. So alternatively, taking a look at FHA, it allows for a more flexible debt ratio. So when conventional has a cap, sometimes at 43, 45%, sometimes a little bit higher than that, FHA allows for a debt ratio that's higher than what conventional allows for. So for our specific scenario, we were able to qualify to buy our new house in the suburbs while also keeping the condominium we had in the city and turn that into a rental property. So at the time, the FHA loan limit was $417,000. So the sales price we ended up targeting at that time in 2011 was just under $440,000. So we had a sales price of $438,500, and with 3.5% down payment, actually it got closer to about 5%. That got us down to the max loan at that time for $417,000. So we had an FHA down payment, and then we also have to deal with closing costs and escrow accounts set up as well. Instead of taking an interest rate that was kind of par, where there wasn't a credit attached to it, we decided to take an interest rate that was slightly higher than the market. The strategy behind this is called utilizing a lender credit. So you're taking a slightly higher interest rate than that would be a par rate to you, and then with that credit, it can help pay for closing costs. So with that setup, we took an interest rate that was a nice chunk higher than normal that we could qualify for, and we used a lender credit to help pay for closing costs. And about a year after we were able to buy our first home utilizing FHA, my wife and I were able to refinance and get into conventional financing. So I always really like to lean on this example of my own personal story of using FHA to get into my first house, because even though I wanted to be a conventional buyer and we were solid enough on credit standpoint to get a conventional loan, we still couldn't fit within that box. So if we didn't use FHA, we would not have been able to buy our first home. You have to start somewhere. And for us, the starting point was using this loan program to get into the house and you start to build that up. At the end of the day, when you're paying rent, you're paying somebody else's mortgage. At some point, you just make a decision to say, you know what, I'm done paying rent. I'm spending more in rent than I really want to. I'd rather pay myself and pay myself back long term. So really kind of summarizing my own personal story, FHA loans are a fantastic resource and a product to help a lot of people get into their first home. It doesn't even have to be their first home. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer to be able to use FHA financing. It's just, there's so many flexible guidelines that allow for more folks to qualify when compared to conventional financing. So if you have questions about how you can use FHA financing to buy a home, a first home, your move-up home, maybe you've had some challenges in the past, whatever your situation might be, everybody's situation is unique. So reach out to us on our team at Philadelphia Mortgage Brokers, and you can find us at phillymb.com. We'd be happy to chat with you and figure out a solution and put a plan in place so you can become a homeowner in 2022.